Tonight, just about a month into the school year, and an Itasca County district is dealing with a COVID surge among students. What officials are doing to avoid distance learning. Plus, Duluth's leadership wants to hear from you as they work to build up better broadband. And the clock is winding down for U.S. lawmakers to agree on a way to avoid a default on the nation's debt.
From CBS 3 Duluth, this is the CBS 3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke. Thanks for joining us. COVID cases in Itasca County right now are the highest in our region, with the lowest level of vaccinations. These numbers have health leaders concerned for the health and safety of their residents and, in some cases, students. CBS 3's Natalie Grant spoke to county and district leaders today. Natalie, how is this new spike jeopardizing in-person learning?
Well, yeah, Kristen, Itasca County health leaders tell me that their case numbers right now are the highest they've been since this time last year. However, this year is a little bit different because case numbers in school-age children are much higher than last. For the Nashwauk-Keewatin School District, over the last 3 weeks, they have been forced to enact policies like student and staff masking after a noticeable rise in cases and symptomatic students. Dr. Ray Vellebrun, superintendent of Nashwauk-Keewatin Schools, said these numbers caused their school board to hold an emergency meeting to discuss the possibility of a 14-day reset. Now, according to Dr. Vellebrun, this would be a worst-case scenario, but one that may need to be made for the health and safety of their students.
And it's frightening to see how many kids we have absent. One day this week, we had 100 students gone, 65 from the elementary and 35 from the high school. So it's getting scary.
Meanwhile, Itasca County health leaders say right now is a vulnerable time for those unprotected against the virus and urge residents to do what they can to stop the spread and keep kids in school.
When our hospitalizations rates are so high, it is scary for those who are unvaccinated. And we just really hope that folks who maybe were on the fence will really help us out in Itasca and get vaccinated.
Right now, 50% of eligible residents in Itasca County are vaccinated, with over 35% of children ages 12 to 17 having at least their first dose. Now, the Nashwauk-Keewatin School Board will be making a decision on that 14-day reset on Tuesday of next week. Now, if that's approved, it would go into effect as early as Wednesday.
All right, we'll certainly keep an eye on that. Natalie Grant live in studio for us tonight. Thanks, Natalie. Well, Minnesota's senior care homes are struggling with record staff shortages. Officials say people are leaving the industry faster than they can be replaced. The long-term care imperative says there are 23,000 unfilled senior caregiver positions across Minnesota. Now that compares with 8,000 last March. Officials cite burnout from the pandemic as a leading cause. Many nursing homes have capped admissions until they can hire more people. As winter approaches, the city of Duluth is looking for a few people to fill one of the most important jobs around: driving snowplows. The city says in a normal year, they don't advertise for these positions, but they say the pandemic has changed the workforce, and they're on the lookout for drivers. Even though the positions will deal with snow removal first, they're looking for people who want to be long-term employees.
These are full-time people. We're looking for people that would like to have a career here. That always helps. We have a lot of internal trainings here at the city, so if you come in, if you can meet some qualifications and you're a good worker, the trainings here at the city will help provide you that next step.
MnDOT says they are also on the lookout for snowplow drivers for state roads. Their positions are seasonal, and their plowing routes are mainly on the highways. We'll hear more from the city and the state coming up tonight at 10. Well, Peter is here now for our first look at the weather. Peter, please tell me we are not going to need those snowplows in the near future.
We're not talking snow. We're talking a whole lot of rain heading into this weekend. You know, we already saw a little bit of rain out there today as well. Most of it from the Twin Ports points east up to a 1/4 inch. See Superior coming in just above a 1/4 inch. Here in Duluth on top of the hill, just a little shy of a 1/4 inch. Nearly 7/10 inch in Ashland, and just about 1/10 inch in Solon Springs. And we're going to see more rain as we head through the rest of the night tonight and through that weekend forecast as well. Currently for us here in Duluth, we're sitting at 59 degrees with a whole lot of fog out there. Visibility now down to 0.3 of a mile. And that is why we see the dense fog advisory in place until tomorrow at 10 a.m. So definitely going to want to keep it slow, especially around the head of the lake in the Twin Ports. If you have any plans to bring you out and about through the night tonight or for the first part of the day tomorrow. Satellite radar shows that we not only are we talking about the fog, we're talking about the clouds and the rain out there. A little bit of rain off to our west right now. And currently for forecast for tonight, temperatures cool back into the upper 50s with patchy fog out there as well as a stray shower. We'll take a closer look at that weekend forecast coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Peter. In this day and age, we've all experienced issues with internet connection. The city of Duluth announced today it's trying to limit problems with broadband by asking you for feedback. CBS 3's Quinn Gorham tells us why the city feels it's so important to provide more options.
What we know is that access for internet looks very different for many different folks.
Today, the city of Duluth introduced a survey to fix one of its most pressing needs, better broadband internet connection. Emily Nygren, an economic developer with the city, says Duluth has a lot of disparity with internet connection that often flies under the radar.
A lot of folks in our community only are able to access internet through their phone service, and so it really allows us to capture the broad spectrum of issues.
Nygren says their goal is to have as many people as possible fill out a survey asking about your experience with internet connection. Their hope is to get an accurate picture of what the needs are in every corner of the city.
By taking the survey, we'll be able to get that information and realize where are the gaps and where we have opportunities to really keep our community connected.
Carl Crawford, Duluth's human rights officer, says filling those gaps is important as internet has become a crucial part of life for many people.
When you only have a small percentage that's able to do that, it creates an imbalance.
And Nygren says their ultimate goal is to improve the broadband experience citywide.
And we're talking about affordability for folks. It's about creating more options for internet service.
The city hopes to have as many people as possible fill out the survey. It will be open from now through November 12th, and you can find a link on our website. A Duluth college will officially recognize Indigenous Peoples Day for the first time. St. Scholastica will recognize October 11th as Indigenous Peoples Day. The day used to celebrate Christopher Columbus and his founding of America. Many communities nationwide have since changed the name and meaning of the day to correctly reflect history. CSS will honor the Indigenous community with inclusive festivities. Events take place from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Newly released video of Minneapolis police officers has become an issue in the upcoming citywide election.
You guys are out hunting people now, and it's just a nice change of tempo.
That video shows police officers talking about, quote, hunting people during unrest following the death of George Floyd. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey says body camera footage that also shows officers kicking and beating a man who had surrendered is, quote, galling. Some of Frey's challengers say the mayor should have done more to control the department. City elections are in less than a month. Residents will vote on whether to replace the police department with a new agency. The police officer who shot Jacob Blake in Wisconsin last year will not face federal charges. Officer Rustin Chesky shot Blake during a domestic disturbance in Kenosha in August of 2020. The shooting left Blake paralyzed from the waist down and sparked several nights of violent protests. Wisconsin prosecutors decided not to file charges against Chesky in January after video showed Blake was armed with a knife. Today, the U.S. Department of Justice said it won't pursue charges against Chesky either. The department says there's not enough evidence to prove Chesky used excessive force. Moving to politics, here's a live look at the Capitol tonight. The House is expected to come back to Washington on Tuesday to pass a bill raising the debt limit and avoiding a default. That's because the Senate got past partisan bickering Thursday night and approved a short-term measure that raises the debt limit until early December. Republicans had been blocking the bill, but Minority Leader Mitch McConnell struck a deal with Democrats, allowing them to get the 60 votes needed to break the filibuster. However, not all Republicans agreed with their leader's decision.
I understand why Republican leadership blinked, but I wish they hadn't. I wish they hadn't because I believe we were on the verge of victory.
Instead, it was Democrats claiming victory in the standoff.
Senate Republicans finally realized that their obstruction was not going to work. I very much thank my Democratic colleagues for showing our unity in solving this Republican-manufactured crisis.
Despite Schumer claiming victory, moderate Democrats, whose votes are needed to pass the president's agenda, believe both sides of the aisle need to come together to pass the multi-trillion-dollar social spending bill. Economists had great expectations for the labor market in September. However, for the second straight month, the U.S. employers added far fewer jobs than anticipated. The Labor Department said U.S. employers added just 194,000 jobs last month. Despite kids heading back to school, public education jobs, both local and across the state, fell. The leisure and hospitality industry added just 74,000 jobs, and experts say they're still struggling to recoup more than 1 million pandemic-forced job losses. Despite millions of job openings, the labor participation rate barely budged.
Getting people back into the labor market, whatever the bottlenecks or reasons are, is going to be really important for a full recovery, not just in the unemployment rate, but an inclusive recovery that really reaches every vulnerable group.
The unemployment rate fell to 4.8%. Still, the U.S. is down 5 million jobs since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, a legendary Minnesota coach just got a tribute to match. We'll take you to the Minnesota History Center next.
And the best way to describe that 7-day forecast is soggy. Just how much rain are we talking about? We'll break it all down coming up in just a bit.
When you have a faculty and a group of people in a school that care about me and want me to succeed in life, it really increases your self-confidence, your enthusiasm about school, and that's LSC.
Whatever your water worry, Culligan Water can help. From value-priced softeners to the world's best and even salt-free. No one has more solutions than Culligan to customize the best filtration for your home. The only water that comes with a van. Contact Culligan, the local water experts.
Eric Paulson here from Discover Wisconsin. Join me and the rest of the crew every week on this station for all things Wisconsin. Continue the adventure on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and discoverwisconsin.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the Cabin Podcast, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
Hi, Gail King here, inviting you to join us every morning right here on CBS. We'll have the important stories and the interviews, all the news that matters really, and best of all, we'll have a good time together. We like to do that. And now you can find us anytime you want on the new Paramount Plus app. So we'll see you every morning right here on CBS. I thought that one was pretty good.
I got into journalism when I was in high school, actually, and that's where I really fell in love with the news and the storytelling aspect of it, being able to bring those things together and keep people informed. It's so important for us to be in a community like Duluth, to be able to hear your stories and then bring them to everybody else in the community.
Watch Caitlin and Jenna in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m.
Be a little bit brave. Don't ever be afraid to.
We've got a couple questions.
Do you think it's time for schools to reopen?
There is some positive breaking news.
We've got a lot of important new information for you and your family.
You up for a ride?
Saddle up.
I got you right where I want you.
Where do you want me?
You let me do the worrying, okay?
We got something here you might want to see.
Good team effort.
Practically family.
Come on, bring it in. No, we're not hugging.
NCIS is new on Mondays, followed by a new NCIS Hawaii. Monday, 9/8 Central on CBS.
Get your news on the go. The CBS 3 mobile app.
Another mild day across the Twin Ports, 61 for today's high at Duluth International. As far as the rainfall department goes, just shy of a quarter inch of new rainfall so far for the month. And as you can see, so far for the monthly departure, running just about a 3/10 of an inch departure. That annual departure number is still rather high, though, just above 6 inches. And that is why we are still talking about a little bit of a drought situation. But there is some good news in that drought situation. This is the new Drought Monitor in the bottom corner that was just released yesterday, and it shows that we have areas of extreme drought really beginning to recede across the Northland. So that is some good news. And taking a closer look at this yesterday's drought monitor, as you can see, it's really beginning to recede off to the north and west. So definitely some welcome news there. And there is a lot of rain to talk about in the forecast as well. Currently, we have a little bit of drizzle and a whole lot of fog out there, 59 degrees for us, with that east-southeast wind in place between 5 and 10 miles per hour. So off the lake, which means we're cooler by the lake once again. That's kind of been a theme for the past week or so. Satellite radar shows that where it's not raining, you basically got mostly cloudy skies overhead, although there may be a few glimpses of sun, especially out towards Brainerd, Bemidji, towards International Falls as well. That won't last forever, though, because as you can see, off towards Big Forks, you can see there's a whole lot of rain off to our west, maybe even some scattered storms that they may see over the next hour or two. So here's how the forecast shapes up from night to night. Talking about mostly cloudy skies overhead. So we head towards about the 11 o'clock hour. You begin to see those storms begin to fill in towards Bemidji, Grand Rapids as well. And we're all talking about scattered rain showers over the course of the night tonight. For today, tomorrow, we're talking about basically scattered rain showers, but with mostly cloudy skies overhead. The majority of the rain really begins to fill in as we head towards Saturday night into early Sunday morning. This is Sunday at midnight. You can see off to the west just a whole lot of reds, yellows, oranges. That's heavy rain, even probably some storms in place there. So as we head towards Sunday morning, we begin to see it dwindle a little bit. But through the day on Sunday, we're still talking about wraparound rain showers. So kind of a soggy weekend ahead. Definitely going to want to keep that rain gear handy. We really don't see much relief until we head towards Monday. And Monday, I think we'll probably see some sunshine, but that might be the last of the sunshine that we see for a little bit. In terms of how much rain we're talking about, most of it's really centered in the state of Minnesota. Over an inch, maybe even over 2 inches cannot be ruled out in some places. But then take a look at northwest Wisconsin. Maybe up to a quarter of an inch in some places. So they're not nearly getting as much rain as we are talking about in Minnesota. As far as that forecast goes for tonight, we have mostly cloudy skies overhead. Temperatures fall back into the mid and upper 50s with a scattered shower or two overhead, especially towards tomorrow morning. Then for today, tomorrow, temperatures climb into the upper 60s as well as lower 70s. So another mild day. It's hard to believe the average temperature for this time of year is 57 degrees. So we're talking about, again, a day where we're 10 to 15 degrees above average. And so far for the whole month of October, we have not seen one day below average. Here's how that 7-day forecast shapes up. Warm, mild, and rainy is the best way to summarize that 7-day forecast. We begin to clear things out a little bit for the day on Monday, but then the rain threat begins to return towards the middle portions of next week.
It's hard to believe we're that high above the average temperatures.
Just last year, we already saw 2 inches of snow.
You know what? I unfortunately got a Facebook memory about that, and I was like, please don't let this happen again this year. We can take the snow a little later on.
Yeah, really.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
A tribute to a legendary Minnesota coach is now on display for all to see. Several years ago, famous painter Mark Balma did a portrait of Bud Grant. It recently found a home. It was unveiled at the Minnesota History Center, where it will be displayed. The image captures the thoughtful Grant, and at age 94, it's an appreciated tribute.
I haven't had many of these things recently, but for an old man, yeah, it's kind of nice to be honored in this way and to have your family involved in it. It's maybe my last honor until my funeral.
Grant, who was born in Superior, coached the Minnesota Vikings for 18 years, and he led the team to the Super Bowl 4 times. Well, a sweet story to end the week. Duluth firefighters spent the day congratulating winners of a special safety contest. Kids were asked to draw a picture of their escape route out of their home in case of an emergency. The 4 winners got an ice cream party courtesy of Bridgman's. Well, Kevin Moore is here now with a look at what's going on next in sports. I'm sure Vikings fans hearing 4 Super Bowls just has them salivating.
Yeah, but as a Patriots fan, that's just like, that's it, only 4? That's crumbs.
Ooh, zingers, zingers.
All right, Bulldog hockey is back. We give you one last look before UMD drops the puck in Bemidji. Hear from head coach Scott Sandelin and captain Noah Cates, plus an update on how the Lady Bulldogs are doing at Amsoil. All that and more. Sports is next.
Join us weeknights. We're live at 5 as we go around the Northland, city by city.
When severe weather hits, tune to CBS 3 for up-to-date coverage morning and night. CBS 3 live cams, brought to you by KohlerChev.com. Now featuring the Kohler Express Deal online buying solution. KohlerChev.com, a better way to buy.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me to understand how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
The Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce is excited to announce the 151st Annual Meeting and Dinner Celebration, Thursday, October 28th at the Deck. This hybrid event will offer 2 viewing options for your choosing, in person with proof of vaccination or negative test, or live streamed with a curbside dinner pickup. Featuring Dr. David Herman, CEO of Essentia Health, as the keynote, we trust this will be a celebration of resilience and momentum. Register at DuluthChamber.com. Brought to you by these premier sponsors.
Epilepsy can affect anyone with a brain.
It does not discriminate.
If you have a brain,
You can get epilepsy.
But here's something that's just as important to know.
Anyone with a brain can affect epilepsy.
So let's use our brains to do just that.
Let's change the way people think about epilepsy.
To find cures.
Because if all of us can get epilepsy,
all of us can end epilepsy.
We just need to use our brains.
Let's use our brains.
Let's use our brains.
Let's use our brains to end epilepsy.
Hurricane Ida hit Louisiana hard. The people there, their families, and businesses have a long road to recovery. And now it's time for each of us to help lift up Louisiana. Text IDA to 51555 and donate to the Salvation Army relief efforts as they provide relief to those impacted by Hurricane Ida. Learn more at CBS3Duluth.com or the CBS3 News app. Live, local, CBS3, helping lift up Louisiana.
I remember my son was going to grow up without a father.
I didn't think so.
I was probably the healthiest I had been in my life.
Early detection of a melanoma saved my life.
I survived testicular cancer because of early detection.
I survived cancer not once but twice because of early detection.
During the pandemic, you may have delayed or canceled routine cancer screenings. It's time to get those appointments back on the books. Early detection saves lives.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Kristen Bakke is as local as our evening news.
I'm from here. This is my home. I learned how to do a left-handed layup right there. At that hoop, that exact hoop.
Covering the communities she calls home too.
You know, there's nothing phony about it. That's who she is. She's just a natural at it, so I enjoy watching her because she's so good at what she does.
Leaders at Hibbing Taconite are scrambling at the Menorca Mining family heritage and iron mining history.
For everything local, watch Kristen Bakke on Live, Local, CBS 3. Get your news on the go, the CBS 3 mobile app.
It's the night that we have all been waiting for. Today marks UMD's first official puck drop since their OT loss in the Frozen Four in Pittsburgh. However, it's a new day and a new season. The Bulldogs and the Beavers will be entering the night as a top 20 matchup. Both teams have not seen one another since the fall of 2017, but both teams return key players back on the ice. Bemidji brings back 4 of their 5 dominant contributors, while UMD sees 4 fifth-year seniors, including senior forward and captain Noah Cates. Although the Bulldogs have yet to grasp the fill after the departure of a few top scorers who went to the NHL, UMD found a new gem in Casey Gilling, a veteran on the ice who comes from Miami of Ohio. Gilling made some noise during UMD's exhibition game last weekend in the Badger State, a game the Bulldogs won over number 13 Wisconsin. And as for the Beavers, they are coming off a loss against North Dakota.
They play fast, they play hard, they don't give you a lot of room. They're always very well structured, and they've got some dangerous guys up front. They can get up and down the rink and make plays, and like I said, they defend really well. And you know, you look at the game against North Dakota, the shots were 21-17 for those teams, right? And that's what you need to expect when you go in there.
Yeah, I think just trust, talking to each other, and then not having any ego, kind of getting pucks deep. It might not be the play you want to make, but it's the play you have to make, and it'll add up kind of when you get to the end of the game. So you can't be forcing plays right away. Just kind of get it behind their D, wear them down, and then kind of later on in the game, those plays might open up.
Head coach Scott Sandelin says that the new faces and younger players will continue to work through their chemistry. Puck drops tonight, 7:07 in the Beavers barn. The women's hockey team just underwent overweight at Amsoil Arena. Peyton Hemp with a goal 2 minutes into the game to give the Gophers the early 1-0 lead. Emma Soderberg is in goal for the Bulldogs. And for the fourth consecutive season, the Brewers are in the MLB playoffs. The last 2 years, Milwaukee has suffered heartbreaking losses in the NL wildcard game. This year, they bypassed that, winning the NL Central. Game 1 of the NLDS this afternoon. We can't show you due to broadcast restrictions. It was scoreless into the 7th until Rowdy Tellez hit a 2-run shot to center field. Corbin Burns went 6 innings, allowing 2 hits and no runs. Jock Peterson, though, just hit a solo shot off Adrian Hauser for the Braves in the top of the 8th.
Well, you know what today is.
What is it?
It's Friday, which means there's a ton of high school football coming up at 10, right?
I can't wait. This is the first time doing Red Zone Live and reading highlights. There's nothing better than Friday in football.
Yeah, we love to see it. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Well, also tonight on the CBS 3 News at 10, as much as we hate to say it, winter is on its way to the Northland. Now, the city of Duluth is looking for a few people to be part of their snow removal team. But it's not just the city of Duluth that's in the need of snowplow drivers. Tonight, we'll hear from MnDOT as they explain how the worker shortage is impacting the entire state. A Duluth radio station is inviting you to help spread kindness here in the region. Life 97.3 is hoping to spread 973 random acts of kindness now through November 13th, which is World Kindness Day. If you do a random act, the station asks that you go on their website and click their kindness button. They then hope to share stories and encourage others to do the same. All right, 973, so we can each do one, so 970 to go. I love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But it might not be a great time to get outside, right?
No, we're talking about some rain for tonight as well as through the weekend as well. We've actually seen a severe thunderstorm pop up off to our north and west, so not quite in our viewing area, but we may see a few storms through the night tonight. Don't think most of us are looking at severe weather, though. But a good soaking of rain throughout the weekend today. We dry things up for Monday, but then we got more rain for the middle portions of next week.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at 10 o'clock.